So, good evening, students, to all of you. So, today I am going to discuss with you about the other part of biodiversity. Well, the things that are left in your biodiversity chapter is your India as a mega biodiversity region, then the cause of extinction of biodiversity, importance of biodiversity, and the ways to conserve the biodiversity. Okay, so let's get started now. I hope you have understood the previous lectures related with the biodiversity and all the other things like your environmental pollutions and so on. Okay, so let's get started now. So India is it is saying that India is considered to be a mega biodiversity region. Why? Let us see what is written here. Okay, from the first line, that is from here, you have to study. Let us see. So it is saying that India is present at the northern side of equator between 8 degree north to 30 degree north. Well, it shows the location of the latitude of India. So normally India is located on the northern hemisphere. Okay, and it is located between 8 degree north to 30 degree north latitude. Then it is saying that on the other hand, India, that is it, here it refers to India, it is present at the eastern side between 60 degree east and 97 degree east. So it shows the location of India. The location of India, uh, if you see in case of in the sense of latitude, it is located between 8 degree north to 30 degree north. And according to the longitudes, the meridians of longitude, as you know, it is located between 60 degree east to 97 degree east. That is, India is located on the northern hemisphere and to the eastern hemisphere. The prime meridian, which is the main line that divides the earth into eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere, according to it, India is located to the east of the prime meridian and is located between 60 degree east to 97 degree east. Then it is saying, look from here, then it is saying that different regions of the country with different seasonal variation has promoted the development of diverse habitat. Well, point to be noted, it is saying that different regions of the country different regions of the country with what, with different seasonal variations has promoted the development of diversity. Okay, so India is such a place where there is different types of geographical locations. They have mountains at the northern part of India, they have plateau regions on the southern part of the India, they have northeastern plain land, well, it is known as Indo-Gangetic plain. India also have desert type of region, also the third desert. It also have coastal areas, it also have delta regions as well as islands. So India has different types of geographical locations, and also there are various type of climatic conditions that occurs on India. So it has a different seasonal variation, and due to these two reasons, first is the geographical location of the features of India, okay, the landforms of the India, as well as the different type of climatic conditions that occur in India, had made different types of life to be exist in this country. Okay, so it leads to the development of diverse habitat, right? So different types of life forms are adapted here to survive, and it is occurring due to the different landforms, different landforms, altitudes, that is your distance from the sea level, and also the climatic variations of India had made development of different types of habitats where different types of animals uh, are being adapting here and surviving. Then it is saying from here, so you see, starting from snow laden Himalayan region here, starting from snow laden Himalayan region of the north to warm humid Deccan region of the south. Now in the north there is a very cold type of climate due to high altitudes. The northern Himalayas, they are very cold, and if you go towards the south of India, you will see a warm humid climate which is located at the Deccan region, the Deccan Plateau regions in the south. Then it is saying, look from here, the biodiversity of the country has been expressed in multiple patterns. So this is the reason, due to variation in the seasons, due to variation in the geographical features, the landforms of the Indian country, different patterns of you can say the diverse landforms habitats has been occurred. So therefore from here you see, therefore different ecoregions appear with diverse communities. This is the main reason that why different types of ecosystem occur on India, and they have different types of communities, the population of species interacting among themselves in different ways. I have said what type of interaction occur: positive interaction or negative interaction. Then it is saying, with its with its totality, India become a mega biodiversity country. This is the main reason that India have a different types of geographical features, land features. It has different landforms, it has rivers, mountains, valleys, even they have desert, coastal plains, plateau regions, and they have a diverse type of climatic conditions. Okay, due to this reason there are different types of habitats which has been expressing here and developed here, and animals are adapting, the animals, living organisms are adapting in this particular environment. So that's why India become a mega biodiversity region. This is the main reason that why India is a mega biodiversity country. So now it is saying, see from here, from India about 1 lakh 15,000 plant and animal species, 1 lakh and 15,000 plant and animal species have been demarcated, and in total there are about 45,000 plant species in India. So it is estimating that how many type of species are there in India. About 1,15,000 plant and animal species, 1,15,000 plant and animal species have been demarcated, have been observed in total, and there are about 45,000 plant species in India, out of which 45,000 are of plant species only. So such variety types of plants are grown in India. Okay, now most of the plants are unique from one another. Like scientists, researchers are trying to collect that information. They go through the Himalayan region, and that's why people from the foreign countries come, especially the researchers, scholars in different countries come to India and research there, and they found some of the plant of medicinal importance or of nutritive value. Okay, so in this way they are observing and they are finding. Okay, well, it is our fault that we are not researching our plants by our scientists. That's another issue. That's some bit of political interest. Okay, better not to go into that topic. Now it is saying that among these 15,000 species, um, 15,000 species belong to the phanerogams. Among 15,000 species belong to the phanerogams. What do you mean by phanerogams? Let's see if you know or not. Phanerogams. So let's understand about the phanerograms. Well, if you see the plant family are of two types. It can be divided of two types. One is called phanerogams, another one is called cryptogams. Well, I am writing it. Let us see. So there are two types of according to the now it is dividing, we are dividing the plant groups uh, based on how it reproduce young ones actually. Okay, so there are two modes. One is called cryptogams, CRYP, cryptogams, and another one is called phanerogams, that is written in this book. Phanerogams. Well, cryptogams are those plant, it refers to those plant or plant like organisms like fungi, like your slime mold. Okay, or plants like mosses, lichens, ferns, ferns. So cryptogams are can be referring to those plant or plant like organisms that produce spores. Cryptogams don't produce any seeds, they produce spores. What are spores? In a simple word, spores, huh? In simple word, spores are generally a cell, okay, which is capable or which is involved in reproduction. Or if I say in a complicated way, spore is the unit of sexual or asexual reproduction that may be adapted for dispersal. Dispersal means to spread, so that that spore will be used again to form a whole new plant in a different place far away from the mother plant. So cryptogams don't produce any seeds, they produce spores. And what are spores? Spores are generally a cell which are involved in reproduction. This much you remember. Example of cryptogams are algae, lichens, mosses, ferns, and some non-photosynthetic organisms are also involved in cryptogams. Non-photosynthetic means they don't produce food by photosynthesis. So non-photosynthetic organisms are also involved in cryptogams, like your fungi, like your slime mold, etc. What are phanerogams then? Well, phanerogams are referring to those higher plants that produce seeds. right? They produce seeds. So those plants which produce seeds are called phanerogams. This much you remember. So I have said that out of 1,15,000 plant and animal species, only 45,000 plant species are there in India, and among these there are 15,000 species which are phanerogams. That means 15,000 species are those plants which can bear seeds, which can produce seeds as a mode of reproduction. Now, in consideration to animal species, India is also very rich. Now, not only plant, and India has also rich in animal diversity as well. There are about 75,000 animal species, among which 80% represent insects. Now, out of the animals, 75,000 animal species, 80% are of insect family, arthropods, right? So let us see the different diverse form of animals, plants which are found in India, that understand us, that helps us to understand that India is a mega biodiversity region. Okay, so more to say about the India as a mega biodiversity region. Well, you can see here it has been said that India has some of the world's most biodiverse region, and the most important regions which are rich in biodiversity, different types of animals, plants that are found, they are has been discussed here, has been mentioned here. So it is saying the political boundaries of India encompasses a wide range of ecozones. Now there is political boundary as well which divide them into states, but uh, it is also has different range of ecozones, like desert region, like high mountains, like high lands. They have, India also have tropical forest and temperate forest, tropical rainforest and temperate forest. It has also grassland, referring to the northeastern plains, and the areas which surround the rivers. Here it is referring to the delta region, the banks of the river, rich in biodiversity. So the most important regions which are found on the India is the desert region, the high mountains. They have not mentioned the name actually. The Western Ghat is also rich in biodiversity. Remember the Silent Valley? They are also located on the Western Ghats. Okay, rich in biodiversity. Okay, then the highlands, then the tropical and the temperate forest which has been mentioned here, then the grasslands. Okay, then the areas which are surrounded by the rivers. Okay, so different types of ecoregions are found in India, and on that basis different types of animals are living here. It is saying that India is a home to several well-known large mammals as well. There are various type of large mammals which are found in India, and some of these mammals include your Asian elephant, the Royal Bengal tiger, Asiatic lion. Asiatic lion is also known as Gir lion because they are found on the Gir forest of Gujarat. Okay, Asiatic lion, you will see in the next line Asiatic lion here. Then India rhinoceros. Some of these mammals, large mammals, are also found in India. Some of these animals are ingrained, in culture. Some of these animals are ingrained in culture, often being associated with deities. Okay, now there are some of the animals, of these mammals, which are ingrained in the culture. Okay, and some of the animals are often associated with deities. Like we treat the animals as god, actually, as an incarnation of god, like the elephant. In Hinduism, we are using we actually describe the elephant as the vehicle of Lord Indra. Okay, the king of the devatas. Okay, then elephant is also considered to be a symbol of Lord Ganesha in Hinduism ritual, in Hinduism culture. Okay, then in another case you see the Asiatic lion. Lion is found to be in our Indian culture, lion is found to be an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, which is one of the supreme powers of our universe, according to the mythology. Okay, according to the Hinduism mythology. Okay, so in this way, we through this mythological way, we are also protecting the animals, actually, and preserving their habitat, actually. It is also saying that uh, these large mammals that we have said now, like Indian rhinoceros, Asiatic lion, the Bengal tiger, Asiatic elephant, these large mammals are important for wildlife tourism in India. Most of the tourism in India, the tourists come for these mammals, actually, for looking at these mammals, and they study these mammals, actually. And several national parks, look at this line, several national parks and wildlife sanctuaries have been set up to protect these animals, right? So national parks and wildlife sanctuaries have been prepared, have been made. Okay, have been made by making a boundary to, so that that type of mammals and other animals can be protected. Okay, the popularity of these charismatic animals have helped greatly in conservation efforts. So it is saying that, I'm minimizing here, so it is saying that the popularity of these charismatic animals have helped greatly in conservation efforts in India. So because these mammals are popular in wildlife tourism, and also these animals are also associated with the culture, ingrained in the culture, so that's why these we are actually protecting these animals. Actually, we are protecting these animals by conserving them, by conserving them in India. Then it is saying, along with the mammals, the avifauna of India includes about 1,314 species, of which 42 are endemic. That means the bird species which are found in India is about how many? 1,314 type of species are found, and out of which 42 are endemic. That means they are in danger of extinction. Okay, okay, so in this way you can see that India is a mega biodiversity nation. Look at this table. You can see here about the percentage of mammals which are found in India, and compared to the whole world. Mammal number of different species of mammals are of 372, and according to the world, about 8.79% of the mammals found in India. Reptiles, you know them. 435 different species of reptiles are found in India, and if you compare to the world, about 6.90 percentage of reptiles are only found in India comparing to the whole world. Fish, 2000 different types of fish are found in India, which contributes 8.69% comparing to the world. The mollusca, which is another kingdom, another classification, another class. Now, about 5000 different types of mollusca species are found, which contributes 0.5% comparing to the world. Then other classes has been mentioned, like the birds, about 1200 different types of birds are found in India, which contributes 9.63% comparing to the world. Amphibians, there are about 181 different types of amphibians found, which contributes 4.32%. And the insects, about 60,000 insects are found in India, which contributes only 7.5% in the world. Okay. Now the main thing is, I have said about India as a mega biodiversity nation, rich in animals. There is very rich in species. Species richness is very high, as well as species evenness. Well, the species evenness is going to be reduced by due to our activities, due to anthropogenic causes or man-made activities, like you all know, destruction of forest, poaching of these animals for their skin, for their tusk, for their horn, for their eyes, also sometimes for their for their other organs as well. Okay, so why biodiversity is important? The importance of biodiversity has been stated here. I am saying line by line, just go through it, and I am trying to discuss in detail one by one. Look from here. Many biologists who study biodiversity confine themselves to the objective assessment of ecological process. Again, I repeat, many biologists who study biodiversity confine themselves to the objective assessment of ecological process. Now, those who study biodiversity, they normally wanted to know the ecological process in that system, in that particular ecosystem, how it is interacting with the other ecosystem as well, that is the beta diversity, and how the overall ecosystem are interacting, that is your gamma diversity. So those who are studying biodiversity, they are not only focusing on a particular species, but they are also focusing the community in that area, which is the alpha diversity. They are also studying the interaction between the one ecosystem with the other ecosystem which is nearby, the communities which are on the other ecosystem from the previous community, how they're interacting, that is the beta diversity, they are also studying, as well as the gamma diversity, which is, I have said earlier in the previous video, the overall diversity, all the ecosystems are interacting in what manner. So they are assessing the ecological process, those who study biodiversity normally. Biodiversity, from this line, biodiversity has an intrinsic value. It it is it is not like you will see from outside. You will not see the benefits outside. Actually, the benefits of biodiversity is inside. Okay, so it has intrinsic value, worth protecting regardless of its value to humans. Well, we will not see the value of humans, okay, but it has an internal importance actually. So what are the internal importance? Let us see. The first one is stability of the ecosystem. Well, if the biodiversity is hampered somehow, or if there is less biodiversity, then the stability of the ecosystem will be also getting hampered. Okay, why? Let us see. It is saying biodiversity is the basis of stability. Biodiversity is the basis of stability of an ecosystem. Okay, more is the number of species, more is the, see here, more is the number of species of a ecosystem, of a community, more is its stability. Again I repeat, it is saying more is the number of species of a community, more will be the stability. So if there is more number of species richness, more will be the stability of that particular community, stability of that particular ecosystem. Then see, it is saying here in this line, it is observed that in a species rich community, it is observed that in a species rich community, alien species, alien means the foreign species, the species from outside, called alien. Alien means from outside here. So in a species rich community, alien species cannot able to enter. Okay, in a species rich community, alien species cannot establish themselves and cannot resist any kind of environmental disturbance. So it is saying here, just remember very carefully, it is saying that biodiversity is the basis of stability of a ecosystem. Second line, it is saying more is the number of species of a community, more will be its stability. So that if there is more number of species, that is species richness in a particular ecosystem, more will be the stability of that ecosystem, more will be the stability of the community. Then it is saying in the third line, it is observed that in a species rich community, alien species cannot establish themselves and it cannot resist any kind of environmental disturbance. That means if there is more number of species, if the species richness is too much high, then the outer species, that is the alien species, also called as invasive species, invasive species cannot able to interfere, cannot able to interfere in that community, and also cannot able to resist any kind of environmental disturbance. The community has the ability to resist ecological disbalance automatically. Due to the species richness, the community will try to resist that ecological disturbance if happens. So that's why more species richness means more stability of that community, more stability of that ecosystem. And the invasive species or the alien species cannot able to enter in that community and cannot able to make their population. And also it will also resist, that means it will also resist the, if that is species richness is too much high, it will resist any kind of ecological environmental disturbance in a short period of time, right? So that's why stability is required, and for stability we need more and more species in that particular community. The next is your productivity. I am zooming in, saying in one line by line, so starting from here. See, productivity of an ecosystem is also dependent on species richness. Now to make more productivity of what? Biomass, food, more productivity comes from species richness only, right? So productivity of an ecosystem is also dependent on species richness. The more number of species in an ecosystem, more will be the productivity. So if there is more number of species in the ecosystem, more will be the productivity, more food will be available, more biomass will be available, and the food chain will be stably maintained, it will not get hampered, and it is stable. Okay, it maintains their stability. So that's why more species richness means more productivity, and more productivity means automatically the ecosystem will become stable. Then the third point that they have mentioned is your ecosystem health. What it is saying here, let us see. It is saying, starting from here, you see, biodiversity is the base for a stable ecosystem. To make a stable ecosystem, we have to make we have to enrich with animals, plants, and other kingdoms, like the kingdoms of flora, fauna, I have said, microorganisms, etc. Various interaction, feedback control, critical link, and keystone species maintain the health and stability of the ecosystem. Just I am repeating the same line again, starting from here. It is saying various type of interaction between what? Interaction between the species, various interactions, feedback control, then critical link, and keystone species. What do you mean by keystone species? Keystone species is such a species without which the other species will going to be endangered. So normally a keystone species are those species whose extinction can lead to extinction of other species as well. That means that species is very important for the survival of the other species indirectly. So it is saying, again I am repeating, that starting from here, various interactions, feedback control, critical link, and keystone species maintain the health and stability of ecosystem. Now to make the ecosystem stable, what we need to do, we need to interact among the species in various way. I have listed the 6 ways: positive interaction, negative interaction, remember in the previous class. Okay, like your prey predator relationship, this is common, one becomes the food of other. Then your commensalism, then amensalism, then your symbiotic relationship or mutualism, right? Uh, Different types of interaction has to be done among the species to stable the ecosystem. Then the second way is feedback control. Now feedback control is such a way where it is involved in the food web actually, where to maintain the population of that species, another pattern of feedback control as a result of food chain or other way we are maintaining. And the key critical link and keystone species, I have said that keystone species is an important species without which we will other species will be what will be endangered. Like best example of a keystone species, if I say, you will be surprised, your honeybee. How honeybee can be a keystone species? It's because I think you have heard somewhere written in your in internet, or you have learned from the general knowledge, that it is mentioned that if the whole population of the honeybee get extinct, then humans will also die. How? What is the relation between human beings and honeybees? It's because most of the pollination is done by the honeybee. Most of the pollination is done by the honeybee, and that leads to the growth of the plants, that leads it to reproduction in the plants. Okay, and that's why indirectly honeybee is a keystone species. Then another keystone species are also there, like your Royal Bengal tiger. Well, Royal Bengal tiger is an important keystone species. Okay, Royal Bengal tiger is also an important keystone species because it is maintaining the population of the deer and the other grazing animals in Sundarbans, in other places. Okay, so these four things, that is feedback controls, interaction among the species, critical link, and keystone species, maintain the health and stability of the ecosystem. Extinction, from this line, extinction and removal uh, of a few species may destabilize the system. Now, if we somehow extinct that species, or if we somehow remove the species in some species in the ecosystem will be destabilized. Now, this experiment has been done by a scientist named um, Paul Ehrlich, well, famous scientist of England. Paul Ehrlich have done a famous experiment, and not actually, he has proposed a theory, a hypothesis, and the name of the hypothesis is your Popper hypothesis. Now, what is about the Popper hypothesis? Actually, Paul Ehrlich have described the whole ecosystem as an alloprene, right? And the rivets, just like screws, but it does not have the patches. Okay, they are just directly, they are being stuck down to join the metal pieces, rivets. And the rivets which are used to make the structure of the plane to join the metal plates are referring to here as species. So Paul Ehrlich have make a theory, have make a hypothesis called Popper hypothesis. It is also called as Rivet Popper hypothesis. It is also called as Rivet Popper hypothesis. Well, I have not fully seen this thing. Yes, it is written Rivet Popper hypothesis. Here you see. Here it is written. Rivet. In the next line it is written Popper hypothesis. Now, in this Rivet Popper hypothesis, what Paul Ehrlich have said, it is saying that according to it, see from this line, according to it, an alloprene has thousands of rivets as ecosystem with different species. Now, he is comparing the alloprene as a ecosystem, and the rivets, that is the screws which join the metal plates to make that alloprene, that rivets are comparing to the species which are living in that ecosystem. Now, it is saying that if few rivets are removed, suppose in an aeroplane you remove the few rivets, okay, then what will happen if you remove a few rivets? Will the plane will be damaged? No. By removing few rivets, the aeroplane initially will not be damaged, so it will not affect the flight safety initially. He is saying that if you remove few rivets in the aeroplane, it will not affect the flight of the aeroplane. Initially it will not affect, but in course of time the aeroplane will become weak. At a certain time, after a period of time, the aeroplane will become weak and will destabilize at some point of time. Same with the ecosystem. Now suppose in an ecosystem we remove some of the species, or some of the species get extinct. It's not like that the ecosystem quickly get destabilized, but at a certain point of time then the ecosystem will start to destabilize. So similarly, Paul Ehrlich have proposed this theory by comparing the whole ecosystem as a alloprene, and the rivets which are used to join the metal sheets of the alloprene, that rivets are compared to the species, different species which are found on the ecosystem. It is saying that by removing some of the rivets in the alloprene, the alloprene will initially will not have any damage. It will safely land, it will safely fly. But with course of time, after a certain time, then the aeroplane will destabilize at some point of time. Similar with the ecosystem also. If initially we remove some of the species, naturally by due to unfavorable conditions they get extinct somehow, then it will not affect the ecosystem initially, but at a particular point of time then the ecosystem will destabilize. So this is about the Rivet Popper hypothesis proposed by Paul Ehrlich. Now this is come in MCQ sometimes, that the Rivet Popper hypothesis was proposed by whom? Paul Ehrlich. And if you questions come, then you have to write the questions actually, right? Okay. Now here it's the saying about what are the cause of extinction of biodiversity. Why biodiversity is getting extinct or loss? The first cause of extinction of biodiversity is habitat loss and fragmentation. We are losing the habitat, we are losing the habitat of the particular species, or the communities of the species in that area for our own profit, by making cities, buildings, industries, etc. Best example to I have said, you see in Durgapur. If you go to the timeline, it's not possible to go to the timeline. If you go back to 20 years ago or 30 years ago, Durgapur was a huge forest area, especially where you are living in the SEPCO, especially where you are living, where IQ city is now there, na? It is a huge forest area. Even in the SEPCO also, it is a huge forest area. There used to be foxes and other wild animals used to roam around. Street were there, obviously, but at night nobody travel in that area. But now, due to our own profit, we are making some plots of land. We are not destructing the whole forest. You see, in the Babunnara, where the Sonoka hospitals is there used to be a whole forest, but you will see now fragmentation. That means part by part, some of the areas has been used for making apartments, buildings, college, or hospitals, etc. And some part are remaining as forests. Okay, so due to fragmentation, this is called fragmentation. In this way we are losing we are making our biodiversity to be lost. Okay, second cause is over exploitation. Exploitation means overusing of our resource. Too much using of the resource cause for our profit leads to habitat loss, like too much using of the fossil fuels. Now where they will find the fossil fuels under the ground, like coal, all of this. And as we are digging the ground, there are different types of mining, strip mining, different type of mining methods are there. and all of these mining methods are causing loss of habitat. Okay, I have said only about the coal mining, but extraction of oil, okay, it cause problem in the ecosystem of the marine environment. Okay, the third cause of your biodiversity loss is alien species invasion. Some of the unknown species, due to the weakness of the ecosystem, due to the absence of keystone species in that particular ecosystem, or due to extinction of some of the species, the foreign species have come in that place and occupy that region. That is called alien species invasion. The normally alien species invasion indirectly caused by the human beings also, like the parthenium. You know the parthenium plant, small white plant, which are actually can cause respiratory problems if you play for a long time, if you are near to the long time. It also cause itching to the skin also, rashes to the skin also. So they are actually come from your America, North America. Somehow they have come. Then another invasive species or alien species is your water hyacinth. The water hyacinth is also an invasive species. Although they are controlling the pollution, nowadays scientists have found some benefit from that invasive species, but they are not from our country. They have been come somehow. Then another invasive species is there, like your Latana camera. I have said the scientific name, right? Latana camera looks like this. I think I have, yes, this one. Well, this also, this plant you see here and there beside the college premises, you can see. Now they are looking beautiful. They have nectar also in a huge amount, and that's why most of the pollination of these plants are done by the bees and insects. And the other plants, they don't go for that to find that nectar actually, because more nectar is found in this type of alien plant. And this plant is occupying pretty large area and causing extinction of the native species of plants. Okay, its scientific name is Latana camera. Okay, in Bengali I don't know what is the name of this plant. Okay, so in different ways alien species are interfering our ecosystem due to weakness of our particular ecosystem. Okay, then another cause is co-extinction. Co-extinction means, co means both. Extinction of one species leads to extinction of the other species as well. That is called co-extinction. So different examples are there, we will see them. Co-extinction is also a cause of biodiversity loss. There are also some other factors as well, like you can see pollution. Pollution is also an important factor that cause loss of biodiversity. Then the next is disturbance. Sorry for that. uh, well, from here it is. Okay, next is disturbance. Disturbance also cause loss of biodiversity. Disturbance in many way, like many way disturbance is done, like using too much of noise. Okay, the DJ amplifier that we are use in occasions, parties, in festivals, in cultural programs. Well, that sound also affect the nocturnal animals as well as the some mammals also, like dogs, like your elephants. Okay, so I have said about the noise disturbance, but light disturbance is also possible, like the light pollution that I have said. It has not been discussed in your chapter, but light pollution is also an important part which has to be discussed in future years. You will see in future light pollution will be discussed to the students. Okay, it is disturbing the other activities of the animals, especially the nocturnal animals. Then intensive agriculture. Intensive means, you can say, to make our profit we are using bad methods, okay, like excessive use of fertilizers, excessive use of pesticides and herbicides for making our profit. Somehow we have to grow the plant, we have to ripe the fruit, we have to harvest the fruits, we have to harvest the crop in a huge amount, but that crop is fully, you can say, indirectly we are eating toxic things. Okay, so intensive agricultural practice also leads to loss of biodiversity. If I say in biodiversity point of view, due to using of too much of these pesticides, herbicides and fertilizers, it is causing eutrophication. I have said in the water pollution, it is also causing death of non-target insects, like we are using pesticide to kill the worms, right, to kill the worms that are infecting the crops, but at the same time that particular pesticide is also killing the insects which are useful to us. Some are important for pollination. The monarch butterfly that you know, it's the only butterfly that can migrate. It's the only insect which migrates normally. Monarch butterfly gets died due to exposure of pesticides. So intensive agriculture also leads to loss of biodiversity. Okay. Then other purpose, other things are also there, like hunting and international business. Well, hunting is a type of occupation that normally people follow. Okay, and it is illegal. In previous years, just after independence, hunting was allowed to a some limit. Okay, because at that time kings were there and hunting was their type of passion, you can say. But nowadays hunting is strictly prohibited. Well, it is done in some places of Africa where there it is there only for source of food, actually that's why they do hunting, but otherwise other places are strictly prohibited. So international business, hunting, now international business for their horns, that is poaching, right, poaching. The tusk of the elephants, the horn of the rhinoceros, okay, are internationally have a great demand. Their price is very high. Skin of the your rhinoceros is used to make bulletproof jackets. Then skin of the tiger is used for decoration purpose. Okay, then other things are also there, and due to this international business, many animals are going to be endangered and getting endangered. Okay, that's why our government have set up a project like Save Tiger project, Save Rhinoceros project in this way. Then deforestation. Well, deforestation, the defragmentation part and deforestation part is same. The difference is that defragmentation means we are cutting some part of the forests to make our land for our own purpose, like for agriculture purpose, for urbanization or industrialization. Deforestation means totally cut down of the forest. We need more land, so we have to fully clean the forest. So it's another issue. Okay, so I have said many things about the factors responsible for loss of biodiversity. Let us discuss one by one in detail. The first is habitat loss and fragmentation. I am just saying and I will try to explain them line by line. So the first line have said, starting from here, see them. Natural habitat which protects the natural flora and fauna are being converted to human settlements harbors, dams, reservoirs, croplands, grazing grounds, and mining site. That means the natural habitat which was once it was the place for the plants and animals. Now this natural habitat is being converted for human settlement, like making dams, making industries, making reservoirs. Reservoirs are the places where the water is used to store. I have said in the environmental movement, the Narmada Bachao Abhijan. Yeah, Narmada Bachao Abhijan, not it is Narmada Bachao Andolan. Okay, NBA. So reservoirs are the place where the water is stored for agricultural purpose, for the cities. Okay, and due to which the forest will be flooded, it will be submerged underwater. Croplands, grazing grounds, and mining sites. So we are converting the natural flora and fauna, the ecological niche of that particular plants and animals are being converted to our human settlements. Then it is saying from this line, you see, deforestation deprive animal life of shelter and food. Now due to deforestation, the animal life get deprived of shelter and food. All the animals, most of the animals, they are getting less food due to deforestation. Due to the deforestation as done by the human beings in a large amount, okay, for making apartments, for making buildings, for other purpose also, uh, we are endangering the animal life, because the animals are getting less food and they are not getting shelter. That's why they are going here and there. That's why you see different animals like elephants come into the cities, and we see the news reporters say, and mad elephants have come and are destroying this and that. It's not their fault. It's a fault of ours, human beings. Okay, so this is the main reason that why animals are coming out from their from that place, because in a small place it is difficult to keep them. Okay, so due to deforestation, it is depriving the animal life, and we are depriving the animal life. Their shelter is going to be destructed. Their food is also going to be lost. Now this decreases the population of many species. Now due to loss of food, due to loss of shelter, how will be the animals will survive? Automatically the reproduction rate become low, because they are busy in survival at that time. Okay, they are busy in survival, how to survive, how to get food, no time for reproduction, and automatically the population of that species get lowered. Next thing that we see here, that is commonly we can see, you can see in Durgapur also, fragmentation. Well, fragmentation normally means a large continuous area of habitat is divided into two or more fragments. Suppose a large area is there. Now in that large area we are using, suppose if I divide that large area into four parts, okay, and we want one part of them or two parts of them, then we clear that forest, that habitat, and we are doing settlements in there, and the rest of the two parts is forest. That is called fragmentation. Okay, well, we are doing less damage, but although we are doing damage now, now it result in disruption of, see from this line, it results in disruption of complex interaction among species. So there will be a complex interaction of species. That's why you can see in Raipur the tiger came out from their sanctuaries, from the national parks, and are hunting here and there, killing the people. Okay, so it makes a complex interaction because the wildlife will not able to it will not able to adjust with the urbanized people. It will not, it is not aware of that urbanized people. Okay, so there will be a complex interaction among the species. There will be destruction of species for competition, and what I have said, and restricted to deeper undisturbed parts of the forest, and they are allowed to roam inside. That you have to not come here, you have to go inside the forest, as you can see in Raipur. Not Raipur also, where the that Jim Corbett National Park is there. News here, we can see the news most of the times in a year. We can see the news that a tiger have escaped from that Jim Corbett National Park, killing the animals, killing humans also, injured the humans also, and so on and so forth. So that's another issue, that due to fragmentation it cause a complex interaction among the species. There will be destruction of the species of and they are allowed to settled in deeper undisturbed part of the forest. Then it is saying animals requiring large territories are badly affected. Well, animal has to roam around, na. You cannot restrict them in a in a limited area. Like for example, I am saying about birds. Well, you all own a parrot. Somebody have a parrot, pet parrot in their home. Well, a bird, if I say bird, for a bird to roam around, it needs a large area, larger than house, which is not possible for us. So we put them in cage. So it's not like that they are happy, they are entrapped. It's like, suppose you are entrapped in a bathroom, giving food, stuff, and all of the things, just like a cage. Okay, similarly with the other animals as well, like tiger or elephant, they need large area to roam around actually. If you restrict them, they will get mad, they will not able to adjust in that small areas. But we give them food and so on. But you will see later on, if you go to Alipur Zoo, you will see that most of the animals are not feeling well, you can see. If you study those animals, if you are geologist, if you are geologist, then you can able to observe that animals are not in good condition. They are eating, they are giving, every time they are giving meal, all the things, but still they are not, you can say, I'm not saying happy, no, you not see, they will not feel well actually. Okay, so large species like mammals, they need more area to roam around, and we are restricting their area by doing fragmentation, that this part of the forest we will use them for our making cities and homes and etc, and this part will be used for the animal to roam around. Same thing is occurring, truly speaking, in the Amazon rainforest. Well, the Amazon rainforest is being now, it is deforested. It is now, deforestation is going on due to one bad cause. The Trans Amazon Highway has been set up in the Brazil. Now, due to this Trans Amazon Highway, which is passing through beside the forest, many constructors, many promoters, many investors are coming there to say to for getting land to make hotels, to make restaurants for the tourists, just like a, you can say, national park in that way. Okay, and due to which what happened, more and more trees are being cut down, and the most part of the trees which are, you know that the Amazon forest is called the lungs of the earth actually, because most of the greenhouse gas is controlled by this forest. Okay, so in this way, animals are getting affected. Well, the example that I have said has been written here also. The Amazon rainforest was so large that it used to be called the lungs of the planet. right? It used to be called as lungs of the planet. Millions of species were existence in there. Now it is being cut and cleared for cultivating soybeans and developing grasslands for raising beef cattle. Well, they have little bit they have said wrong. Actually, the truth is they are commercializing, they are making restaurants, they are making hotels, lodges, so that for tourist attraction, so that they can come and settle, and just like a source of money, actually, you can say. Okay, tourist attraction, okay, so that the government of Brazil can get that sum of money. And in that manner, you can see in the news in previous years, Amazon rainforest caught fire. Nobody said the cause of having that fire. Okay, so that's the main reason. So over exploitation is another cause. Fragmentation is cause. Over exploitation means too much use of resource. Well, we have said the sustainable development. Sustainable development means to use the resource in a good manner, so that not only we are getting benefited from the resource, but our future generations will also equally get that resource, and they enjoy that resource, using that resource in an equal manner. But nowadays what we are doing, we are too much using that resource, and due to which what happened, over exploitation of the resource is occurring, and this is the main reason of loss of biodiversity. So let us see what it has been written. The second point, it is saying that you see from here, okay, excessive exploitation of plant or animal species beyond their renewability results in degradation and extinction of resource. Now if you are using too much of that plant and animal to get outcome from it, to make profit from it, if you are using too much of that particular plant or animal, then it leads to extinction of the resource. So again I repeat, excessive exploitation of plant or animal species beyond their renewability results in degradation and extinction of the resource. Now the way we are using the products of the plant and we are not allowing them for the renewal, that means to take some time for the renewal. Like for example, the dairy industry, there is a big bitter truth in dairy industry. That bitter truth is that we are using the cows for getting milk, right? We know from our childhood that in dairy industry we use cows. But for commercialization, for making profit, we are too much using the cows, we are too much using them for their milk production, and that's why we are putting some injections. I don't know what that injection is. There may be some stimulating hormone, just like human stimulating hormone is there na, HSG. Okay, human stimulating follicle stimulating hormone, or you can say the human chorionic gonadotropin hormone. That type of hormone injection is being implanted in the cows, so that forcefully they can make a milk from that blood quickly in the mammary gland, and due to which we are using them. Okay, we are also adding some chemicals, some other things are also there. Like, I'm not making that ethical issue, but it's the truth, bitter truth. For preservation we also add some other things also, okay, for making that milk preserve for a long time. Okay, so using too much of that animals, and we are not allowing them for their renewal, so that they can take time for their renewability, is causing them for their extinction. And in this way cow will be extinct, not in 2 or 3 years, but it will take some time. It is estimated that, as stated in by the other scientists, that maybe the extinction of cows may be somehow in around 2300 AD. 2300. Now we are having 2022, so more 300 years to go. Okay, then too much use of other resource as well. I've said cow as an example. Other resources are also there, like rice, like wheat. Okay, without making their renewability, we are using too much of pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, so that they will grow rapidly within a short period of time and will give us more harvest. Okay, that's leads to extinction of the resource. Then it is saying that here, from here, excessive felling of trees in the forest, then your overgrazing, over sorry, it has gone down. Okay, excessive felling, from here, excessive felling of trees in the forest, overgrazing, hunting of animals, uprooting of medicinal plants have resulted in degradation of habitat. Now, as we are cutting down the forest and we are not waiting for their renewal, right? Like, if you are cutting down the forest, you have to plant trees. In some of the countries strictly it has been mentioned, and in our country, well, we have the laws to plant trees, but we plant only once in a year, and that's not up to mark that it will lead to renewal of forest for a short period of time. So we are not making their renewable time and we are cutting down the forest. Then overgrazing, due to using too much of grazing animals for milk and meat, we are grazing them, and overgrazing of the animals also leads to erosion of the soils. Then hunting, again, then hunting, then hunt from here, then hunting of animals. Okay, then uprooting of medicinal plants of medicinal importance. Without, we are uprooting the medicinal plants, but we are not planting them, so that that medicinal plant can grow in huge amount and we can harvest them. So due to which, these are the causes that have resulted in degradation of habitats and extinction of many species. So this is the reason that due to too much exploitation, too much using of this resource for our own benefit, for our own profit, we are degrading their habitats, and at the same time we are making that species to be endangered and also to be extinct. Now extinct, you mean it will never come back again in this world, you can never see in the world. Now there are many animals which are getting extinct. Okay, like the cheetah from India. Yes, there used to be cheetah in India, but now it is becoming extinct. The dodo from Mauritius. Dodo is a big bird, a flightless bird, big bird. I think you can see dodo. Well, you can see the dodo in the picture in the internet. Okay, one animated film has been shown the dodo. The name of the film is Up. Up. It is an animated film, cartoon film, where you can see the cartoon features of the dodo, the color features of the dodo. They have made an imaginary design that in this way dodo looks like. Okay, and you can also see them in the internet, but black and white, you cannot see color. So dodo is getting has extinct from Mauritius. Then passenger pigeon from America. Well, the passenger pigeon from America has also become extinct. Many marine fish population are also going to be extinct. There are some marine fish population which are going to be endangered and going to be extinct. are declining actually because of over harvesting. Too much of harvesting of those fishes without culturing that fishes, where culturing of agriculture of fishes is called pisciculture. Okay, now due to not culturing of those fishes, and at the same time we are harvesting the fishes from the sea, we are making their population decline, right? A number of economically important species are likely to be become endangered. There are a number of some important species, some of them are keystone species as well, which are likely to be endangered within a few years. Okay, well, almostly 1 hour 20 minutes has been done. Next is alien species invasion. Alien species invasion means what? I have said foreign species. Introduction of alien or exotic species may cause significant loss to the biotic biological communities. Now, introduction of some foreign species which is not native for our own profit, or suddenly somehow we have entered that species into that habitat, it causes loss of our biological communities. Now these invasive species, they become invasive and drive away the local species. What does the alien species will do? Alien species will dominate that particular place, and once which were the local species, they are going to be endangered, they are going to be extinct. These invasive species or alien species may also alter the habitat in such a way that many natives are no longer able to persist. So these alien species are so much dominant that it will change the habitat in such a way that the native species which were once to be used to inhabit in this in that habitat will no longer remain to be found there. It will be against their habitat. Okay, now there are few example of introduction of exotic species and their effects. Some examples I have said: latana camera, then water hyacinth. Okay, so the first example is latana camera. Well, in our childhood, we used to say as modhugach, because the flowers of the Latana camera stores too much of nectar. If you suck in your mouth that flower, if you pluck the flower and the stalk of the flower, if you suck them, you will see a sweet taste is coming. So due to this reason, most of the insects are pollinating that plant, and that's why due to too much of pollination, these plants population are getting to be doubled within short period of time, just like a weed. And the other plants, the native plants, are going to be declined. So it is an exotic shrub, strongly competes with the native species, and has eliminated many of them. The normal species of plants are going to be reduced due to the introduction of these Latana camera plants. It has also invaded many forests in different parts of our country. You can see Latana camera besides our college campus. Okay, it's grown in any environment, dry soil, wet soil. Okay, it has adapted actually in that particular soil. That's why we say invasive species, right? Second invasive species is water hyacinth. In Bengali we say kochuripona. Okay, a scientific name of water hyacinth is Acornia crassipes. They were introduced in several tropical countries like India, done by the British actually at that time. And normally this, if I say in as a invasive species point of view, they clog the water bodies and wetlands, and resulting death of several aquatic animals and plants. Well, water has in population, if they grow many growth in the water bodies, then automatically they will die one time. And due to dying, their biomass is going to be decomposed by the decomposers. Automatically the BOD level will be decreased, because the decomposers will use the oxygen from the water, the dissolved oxygen from the water, to degrade that biomass, and automatically the BOD level will decrease. It will hamper the life of the aquatic animals. Okay, I think you have understood what I have said. Next is co-extinction. Well, co-extinction means extinction of one species leads to extinction of the other species. Many species live in obligate association in the ecosystem. Many species many species live see from here wait see from here many species live in obligate association in ecosystems. Okay, many species. And when one of them become extinct, the others which are associated with that particular species will also die. So there are many species which live together mutually, actually, if mutually, and if one of the species get extinct, the other species automatically die. Best example is Pronuba yucca cells, Pronuba yucca cells and yucca. These are the two co-extinct species. If the host become extinct, then all the parasites exclusively found on it will also become extinct. Well, Pronuba yucca cells and yucca, one of them is parasite and another is a host. The parasite live inside the host in the yucca plant. Now, if that yucca organism, if yucca get extinct, automatically the Pronuba yucca cells will also die, will also become extinct. Next is disturbance by human beings. Well, human beings disturb always. You can see them. We also get disturbed due to human activities. We are also humans, so why not the animals will get disturbed? Natural as well as man-made disturbance like fire, tree fall, defoliation by insects, etc., affect the communities adversely. So some natural disturbance is there, like tornadoes, cyclones, heavy rainfall, flood, volcanic eruptions. Some man-made disturbance is there, like forest fire, tree fall, defoliation by insects. That means insects are causing falling of the leaves of the tree, can affect the communities. Man-made disturbance and degradation are more severe. It is saying that comparing to the natural disturbance, man-made disturbance is more dangerous, more severe, and they include falling of trees, use of fire for clearing, collection of litter, and over exploitation for other economically important products. So over exploitation, forest fire, okay, then collection of the litter or waste, dumping of the waste in a forest place, okay, which is far away from the cities, okay, that unnecessary, that disturbance leads to decline in the population, affect the biodiversity. Okay, then comes pollution. Well, pollution also reducing the species population, biodiversity. Pollution may reduce and eliminate the populations of sensitive species, those species which are very sensitive. That means they does not able to resist in that environment, but small hamper in change in the environment can lead to extinction. Excessive use of pesticides have polluted both the groundwater and surface water bodies. Obviously, use of pesticides, herbicides have polluted the groundwater by leaching and surface water by surface runoff. Many sensitive populations have disappeared. The population of fish-eating birds and falcons have declined. Now, this occurred as a result of biomagnification. I have said in the water pollution that the birds lay fragile eggs, and due to eating of too much of that fishes which are actually affected with that particular pesticides by consuming too much of pesticides, and this leads to decline in the population of that marine birds. Lead poisoning is another cause causing of mortality of many aquatic birds like ducks, swans and cranes. Lead poisoning, that means lead means, it is a type of pollutant, and it normally emits from the smoke of the cars, buses, motorcycles, scooters. Nowadays it is scooties. Now it also affects the environment. Lead poisoning causes decline in the population of aquatic birds like ducks, swans and cranes. Eutrophication is another issue. It leads to depletion of dissolved oxygen in the water, fouling of the water, and death of the animals. Then the oil spill. Remember, oil spillage occur. Those who from the biotech background, they know very well. Oil spillage, that means spilling of oil from the oil extracting plants, can cause death of several marine algae, fish, and seabirds, because oil is making a layer of that water, okay, and dissolved oxygen cannot able to enter, the oxygen cannot able to dissolve in the water, result in depletion of oxygen, automatically causes death of that particular organisms, or they have to move to the another place if it is a sea or river. Well, I have said many things here. I think there is more 3 points, 4 points, sorry. Intensive agriculture, that means to meeting our demands, we are using such practice in agriculture which causes loss of biodiversity. See from here, to meet the expanding demands for food grain, it is required to increase the agricultural land area. Now our world population is growing, and to feed that world population we need more crops to grow, and for this we need more land. That's why we have to cut down the forest. This is the main thing that they want to say. In most cases, from here you can see, in most cases it is done by reclamation of the wetlands, use of the fallow lands, destruction of the forest, destruction of the grasslands. So in what way we are using the land? The wetlands are being used for farming. Well, wetlands are very important for recharging the underground water bodies. Okay, so we should not use that wetlands for our own benefit. Then cutting down of forests, then use of grasslands for agriculture. These are the some ways that through which we are increasing the cultivation of crops. Now due to which there is destruction of habitats, and that leads to extinction of species, because on wetlands there is a different type of ecosystem there, and we are declining their ecosystem, we are removing their ecosystem, we are damaging their ecosystem. Not only that, also we are also removing the forest, and the ecosystem in that forest is also getting hampered, and this leads to disappearance of other varieties of species. For example, it has been stated that at one time about 308 varieties of maize were grown in USA. Today their number is only 12. Due to extensive agriculture, we are also reducing the species richness of that particular cropland as well. Like they have said in USA that at the time there were about 308 varieties of maize used to be grown, but now it has reduced to 12. In India, there were used to be 200 species of rice to be cultivated, but now we have only 12 varieties of rice. 12 or 13 varieties of rice. Because the main reason is we are focusing on that 12 varieties of rice for our own benefit, and we forget about the rest of the varieties of the rice. Okay. Then forestry. Well, forestry leads to loss of biodiversity. That's little bit awkward, but it's true. Now, if we plant similar type of trees for our own benefit, that is, we are making forest by planting our desirable trees. Like, for example, for furniture, we want to cultivate the sal trees or teak trees. Okay, then what will happen? That's the thing that they are saying. Growing economically important plants. That means the plants which will be used for commercialization. So that type of plants, if we grow for commercial purpose, it will, sorry, okay, so if we grow that plants for commercial purpose, then what will happen? It will reduce the number of other plants as well in the forest. Suppose in the forest there is a particular area where we are growing our economically important plants like teak or sal, right? Okay, for commercialization. And slowly what will happen, eventually the other plants of that species will be going to be what, reduce in their population. Okay. Like it is saying that cultivation of forest plant like teak, sal, kale, shisham are in practice, and such pure strands are liable to be attacked by insects and pathogens. To protect from them, we use pesticides as well, and that pest will not only harm that teak, sal, which were growing the economically important plants, but it will also affect the other plants, and we will not bother to care them. So the other plants population automatically get declined. Next is hunting and international business. Well, it is also called as poaching. Well, poaching is being done for, it is a huge business. Okay, it is an international business. Like the name, what's the name, on the basis of that the film Pushpa has been made. Birappan. Yes, Birappan. Well, Birappan was famous for robbery, for poaching of what, animals like elephants and rhinoceros, as well as he's also you can say he also used to fell down the sandal trees. He used to export the sandal trees, black marketing, and get huge amount of money. One sandal tree cost about 1 to 2 lakh, mature sandal tree. Okay, now there are two type of sandal tree: red sandal tree, redwood sandal tree, and white sandal tree. White sandal tree is permitted to plant in our homes, but red sandal tree is not permitted. It is illegal, because the cost of that red sandal tree is about 3 to 4 lakhs if they mature. So poaching was done in this time, and it is an international business. Okay, so all kinds of hunting methods for international business, um, for any purpose, like for food, for recreation, fur, hide, mask, plumage, tusk, horn, etc., has caused extinction of that wildlife. Best example is your musk deer. You know the name musk deer? Kasturi Mirg. Now the musk deer, in their abdomen there is a pouch. What can I say? It is there is a pouch where smell is coming out. What we call as kasturi. Okay. Now the poachers used to take out that pouch, kill those animal, okay, and use for international business. Similarly, the task of the elephants are very costly. Okay, then the skin of some animals like crocodiles, tigers. Okay, they are very much, their price is very much high in international business. You can get a high price. Okay, now for recreation, for food, for hide, for mask, for plumage, for tusk, okay, for horn, we are killing those animals, and that causes extinction of those animals. Here are some pictures you can see. A cheetah has been killed by this hunter for their skin and other purpose. This is a hyena which has been killed. This is the hide of the tiger. In Hindi we say khal. Tusk of elephant which has been shown here, and it is exported internationally. The last part, the cause of loss of biodiversity is deforestation. Now this is the last part. I will not go it further because it will take more than 2 hours. Then if I go for conservation of biodiversity, that will be done in separate video. So deforestation. Wild plants of forest are destructed for timber, charcoal, firewood, often deprives wild animals of their most palatable food and affects their survival. So normally we are cutting down the wild plants in the forest for getting their wood, that is for getting their timber. Then charcoal, in Bengali we say katkoela, used for burning purpose. Firewood often deprives wild animals of their most palatable food and affects their survival. So as we are cutting down the forest for our own benefit, the wild animals which are dependent on that particular forest, on that particular plants, they are got unbenefited, they lost their food. Due to high percentage of deforestation, there are reduction in the area for free movement of wild animals. Now as we are cutting down the trees now in the forest, the movement of the wild animals are more and more restricted, as well as disturb the ecosystem also. It is disturbing their ecological balance also. So these are the some points related with the, what can I say, about the biodiversity loss, and I hope you have understood what I have said. Well, today is a lengthy video I have made. Just go through it, you will be able to understand all of this.